complicated, though.
It's so complicated.
Yeah, I think if they were going to do that, they would have made it obvious. They would have had, like, spaceships or something, or, like, the Fantastic Four, like, it's obviously set in a different timeline.
They could just trying to take a cue from their past mistakes and just try and isolate this as much as possible so it's more digestible for especially their target audience that might not be familiar with all the comics as well. I think there is a real possibility based on the dialogue in the last episode that it was Billy himself that put the sigil on him. And this could be more of like a Sweeney Todd kind of thing where Billy, like Toby, cuts Sweeney Todd at the very end. So spoiler alert, guys, for a musical.
Yeah, I was about to say, hold on, I know that came out in the 80s. But I mean, I guess for all the things you could spoil from Sweeney Todd, that's pretty safe. So we'll just move on from there. Keep going, sorry.
Yeah, but I think if Marvel is smart in learning its lessons, I think they're trying to just contain this as much as possible, and that this could be Billy's own agency of trying to take revenge against Agatha and maybe seeking power himself to get his mother back from the dead.
Well, I went over earlier how this happens in the comics. I'm still, like, the mental gymnastics they jumped through to make Wanda pregnant in the first place back in the 80s, and then for John Byrne to say, well, the kids never existed after they'd existed for a decade at that point, and then for them to go back, years later and say, oh, no, see, the thing is that, there was this Life Force thing, and then parts of Life Force, it's very complicated, even for, like, Marvel comics across 70 years of continuity. 60 years of continuity. How do you think they could simplify this? Like Billy being alive. Like I said, I've got theories I'll talk about later, but Heather, as a storyteller, what do you think would make sense in a cinematic universe where it's got to be digestible for the normies?
The simplest is he just is, and we accept that, right? And that's fine.
They won't do that, though.
Or they might. They might. I don't know. I just, with all of this focus on Philly, with all of this focus on Miss Scratch, all of this, behind the scenes, Wanda is, overshadowing all of the show, right?
Yeah.
Her death, how did she die? How did she end up in, Westview? They haven't teased it at all, but in my mind, I keep asking, where's Tommy in all of this? Is Tommy going to come into this in any way, shape, or form? Is there something there? Because he is a very key player in this Westview, Wanda Maximoff, Billy storyline that is not present at all.
But in the comics, Billy was introduced first before Tommy, and then they had to, when he figured out
Right, but they were both introduced together originally in one.
Yeah.
Yes,
And they were both together in multiverse, right? It's very clear they're not sticking with the comic storyline.
I'll tell you what I'm hoping for this, and there's no candidate I can think of who would fit this. I would love it if there had been somebody in the MCU all along who was a teenager, whatever, who we could just say was Tommy, right? Who was unrealized. Maybe a character from the Spider-Man films, not Flash Thompson, but if there was some way to take a character who had been in the background the whole time, and then they end up being Tommy, that would be a twist. But that's the kind of twist where...
No.
Yeah, it could be. Well, not getting what's Ned. Sure. Yeah. Bevan, there's another twist here. Yeah, you brought up, like, they revealed this halfway through the show.
Yeah.
And they would not have done that if it were the only twist.
Correct.
It's hard to fool us in this show, right? It's hard, it's pretty clear in Moon Knight there was going to be a third personality, because there's 3 personalities in the comics, and it's my job to spoil that for people after seeing the trailer. Did you guys actually know there's 3 of these guys? With this one, though, there's a popular fan theory going around about Rio that she's Marvel's version of Death. And, Death is originally, I talked earlier about Thanos, or talked in our Easter egg video about Thanos, and I worship Death. I don't want to get into some of the gross Thanos Death stuff here. I think that's a strong possibility. There's a lot of implications that it's leading that way. I'm not sure how that can fit into this ending, because I think it's interesting that Rio's whole thing is green, and when they exit the road in this challenge, which is all about death, suddenly they're enveloped in green. I'm wondering if there is just the next mystery is not only going to be the reveal of Rio, but also what happens to Nicholas. Where do you stand on this? Like, what do you think could be? Do you have any theories on what the hell this next big reveal could be and how it would involve Aubrey Plaza? You don't just cast Aubrey Plaza and hang out. She's going to do
and by the way, she's having the best time ever. I mean, she's having the best time ever with this, and I love her, which is Cactus. She's great, and she seems to be addicted and drawn to energy around danger and death, which is why I think she kind of showed up once Mrs. Hart was buried in the ground, and I think she's just drawn to it because Agatha, sucks people to death. I think that's one of the reasons why she's attracted to her. So it's a very strong possibility that will be revealed, and that she's just somebody that's kind of like a drug addict that just wants to be around people that constantly cause death and stuff like that. And maybe she's kind of, I don't know, again, it's a theory, but it could be a thing where she's just kind of there as a drug addict that knows what's going to come with Billy and Agatha, and she kind of just wants to be a spectator about it. Or maybe protect Agatha since she really likes her. Who knows? I like how unpredictable she is, and I'm okay not knowing the answer to this.
The idea of her being deaf, there was some dialogue that hinted toward that. She says,
with Asana, AI teammates can pull real-time data and keep work on track, so every team can work smarter and faster. Asana, the #1 AI work management platform. Try for free today at asana.com.
From somebody and they got mad at me even though it's my job. I think she's talking about Agatha and Nicholas Ratstein. There's weird things in this episode where she kept disappearing. She disappeared when Alice died. She disappears outside when everybody else seems to die. There's just something else at play here. I do think that
She left during the Ouija board death thing.
She also
she did. That's right.
hates ghosts, right? And ghosts is death unfinished, right? Death not finished their job. So I think there's another clue there.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how that fits in with Wanda. I do think all of this goes back to Wanda. I don't think the MCU is trying to replace Elizabeth Olsen with Catherine Hahn. I think she's going to come back. I think she's going to give rebirth to the multiverse after Secret Wars and fulfill her destiny as a mother, et cetera, et cetera. It's just too perfect to not do, and you can't just kill her off like they did in Multiverse of Madness. They wouldn't even kill her off as a villain in the comics. So I do wonder how all this comes together. How does Leo, if she's deaf, was she involved in the resurrection? Because she knew right away that Billy was not Nicholas Scratch. She tells Agatha, that's not your boy. Agatha didn't believe her. Agatha says you're just like your mother, and I think she meant herself in that. Would you guys agree, or do you think that she understood that it was wrong?
Yeah, and I also just thought it would also be interesting if this is the story about how Agatha dies, especially if Billy is out to get revenge for Wanda, and this is the end is Agatha's going to die, and Death is just there to come and collect her, and she's really excited about watching this last journey of Agatha.
Well,
believe it or not, we have a video coming out next week that's about that very same topic. I just want to plug that. You're so good. That's great.
I was just gonna say, what if that's the end of the road, right? They're killing Wanda, or they're killing Agatha to bring Wanda back. That's the whole point of all of this, and bringing together all the witches that hate Agatha, so basically anyone.
True. All the theories floating around that Wanda would appear, that she might cameo at the end of this. I kind of think it's going to happen. I think they've already had that plan. I think there's a reason they sat on the show for so long. I think there were some rewrites, and I think they talked to Elizabeth Olsen and said, yeah, look, we're getting the band back together. Some of the new stuff's not working. We're bringing all these people back, and fans want to see, we want to give the fans what they want. What do you think?
I was going to say, the really boring reason that leads to Wanda coming back for me is Elizabeth Olsen is superior to New York Comic Con. That's the big neon sign for me.
We laugh, but boy, that's an indicator. You can look at the Endgame premiere. We were like, why is Natalie Portman there? Natalie Portman wasn't there because they reused some old footage from Thor: The Dark World. She had just signed on to do Thor: Love and Thunder, right? It's great to have a show like this where I don't know. I have no idea, and it's also challenging for us. Brianna McCarty's been writing the bulk of her Easter egg videos. When I say the bulk, I mean the heavy bulk, the 90%. She loves horror and tarot and witchcraft, so we have this whole new area of our culture that's being explored in this show. Also just giving us not quite the level of mystery of WandaVision, because in WandaVision, we didn't really have a basis in the comics apart from House of M. This show, Billy, Death, sure, but for me, that's not even the most interesting part. The most interesting part for me is how he came back. Who put that sigil on him? What does this indicate for the future? Where is Tommy? And I guess this is my final question for you guys. Given where Marvel's been, right? It was pretty clear a few years ago they were setting up certain things. I mean, in 2020, we talked about the Young Avengers and how they seem to be setting up these characters. Now, we had the Marvels, we had No Fall Clean set up, we had the Kamala Khan tease in the Marvels, which didn't seem to garner much enthusiasm. Do you guys still think that they're eyeballing Young Avengers, that could be Wanda's return through the show Vision Quest, which I'm really excited for? How do you guys think this is going to impact the future of the MCU?
I do think Young Avengers is still coming in some way, shape, or form. I just don't think that Kevin Feige and the folks at the MCU know exactly how they want to do it, whether it's I personally think Young Avengers is a mistake to not make a TV show, not to make an episodic. To really explore these characters, but I definitely think it's still coming. Other characters they're teasing, across the board in Fortnite and the Marvel Snap games and all this stuff. They're testing the waters with more and more of these younger characters. So I definitely think, there's a huge possibility that we will see a Young Avengers that's led by a tired Kate Bishop Hawkeye and
Vaughn and Cassie and
exactly, I'm wondering if the whole Sony deal, losing Spider-Man, the crazy weirdness with all Spider-Man, I think they were teasing doing Miles, and then that didn't quite come through, and that would be a character I really would want. So I don't know, there's whether it's Young Avengers, whether it's Champions, right, which was trying to do Young Avengers again. I definitely think there's still a possibility, but I don't think they know what it is yet. And I am thankful that the MCU and Disney Plus seem to have finally learned that, you can't just rush products and TV shows out.
Or throw money at them.
Exactly.
Great, with the Acolyte.
I think Disney has finally started to learn, they want good things, not just things.
Right, exactly. Well, back into the whole conversation about Bob's paycheck and all that. How about you? Do you think that Young Avengers is still on the horizon for us?
I don't think it's coming soon, and I think that's a smart decision because I think they're recognizing that those characters need more time to marinate in other properties if people are going to show up to a Young Avengers proper show. But if they budget Young Avengers accordingly, like they're doing with Agatha, they were very smart to think, okay, Agatha's like a C-tiered character. She's not as popular. Let's budget accordingly to this, and now they can say that it's a success because they didn't give Agatha $200 million for a TV show for a character that not a lot of people, buy comics for. So I think if Young Avengers is treated along the lines of Agatha, and all of these characters start popping up in other properties, and then more and more people become aware of them, then I think you're going to have a successful TV show of Young Avengers. But I think they're going to focus more on X-Men right now. So many people are hyped for X-Men. It's a more popular franchise. Fantastic Four.
Let me throw this out there as the final one here. If they're going to do Young Avengers, the clock is ticking.
Sure.
Because if it's going to come out after Endgame, it's going to be 2028, and it's not going to be Young Avengers. It's going to be like Dear Evan Hansen. These guys who, were teenagers when they started, but now aged out of the role. So, guys, thank you very much for joining me. Heather, Bevan, always a pleasure. You can find their social links below. Now, talking to Bevan and Heather got me thinking. I think that Wanda is actually on the Witch's Road right now. But how? She died. Well, in the comics, the Witch's Road exists outside of normal time and space. For example, when Wanda walks the road, she actually meets a younger version of her dead mother, from when her mother walked the road decades earlier. So it could be that Wanda walked the road when she was studying the Dark Art, or that she survived her ordeal in Multiverse of Madness and her future self is walking the road during the show. Now, my favorite theory about the ending is that it didn't really happen, that it's all a vision of the future that Lilia is experiencing. That would explain why Rio keeps disappearing and why everything in these scenes is this weird green hue. I also think that Alice is still alive, and the whole series is now going to be a ticking clock, counting down to the moment when Billy goes full Wanda. This is like the ending of the Twilight Saga, which, I don't want to spoil for you, but I am a huge defender of. But, like I was saying with Bevan and Heather, I do think that all of this is leading up to the Young Avengers. And the seminal Young Avengers comic book is called Children's Crusade, when Billy and Tommy restore their mother from an amnesiac state. I really do hope this episode creates momentum for the Young Avengers because they're just such a fun team. In fact, I would like to hear from you guys in the comments or on our Discord. Do you think that the Young Avengers should be in the MCU, and do you think they should be a series or a movie? And just to remind you, everybody, please check out our links below for our merch store, Discord, and to buy tickets to our live show. And for fun gift ideas, check out our sponsor, Holzkirk, and let us know what you think about all of this down in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, welcome to the channel. Please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.
You break rules and become a hero. I do it and I become the enemy. That doesn't seem fair.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Crush. I'm Ryan Airy, and it looks like we finally know the original plot of Doctor Strange 2. It would have reportedly tied into Wanda's story much better than WandaVision. The leaker, My Time to Shine Hello, shared information about leaked concept art and the synopsis of the movie that they said was actually confirmed by X-Men 97 Season 1 showrunner Bo DeMaio, who we should note was fired by Marvel for sexual misconduct. So, we're going to talk about this deleted movie and how it could have actually tied in better with WandaVision and why Marvel decided to go a different way. And a little later, we're going to talk to Brianna and Colton to get their take on this so we can really break down if this was the right move for Marvel to make or if there was a much better Doctor Strange 2 out there that we never got to see. But before we get into those leaked details, I want to remind you guys about the Marvel parody merch for sale at our merch store.
Online games. I mean, you pay to buy the game, and then you have to pay to have a subscription to play it online. And the game is useless by itself. Then you have to pay to buy DLC, and when new stuff comes out, you know, your group has to all have it, or you can't do it. And then they add microtransactions in on top. So
There it is, bro. Even the ancient wizard knows. Even he knows. This guy made Fallout.
hi everyone, it's me, Tim.
Hi,
Today I
Tim.
want to talk about why I don't play online games much anymore. And I'm
Okay.
particularly talking about multiplayer. And I did it for a long. Long time. I mean, multiplayer games have been around for a online games. I mean, you pay to buy the game, and then you have to pay to have a subscription to play it online, and the game is useless by itself. Then you have to pay to buy DLC, and when new stuff comes out, you know, your root pass to all have it, you can't do it. And then they add microtransactions and all. So
There it is, bro. Even the ancient wizard knows. Even he knows this guy made Fallout.
hi everyone, it's me, Tim. Today I'm going to talk about why I don't play online games much anymore. And I'm particularly talking about multiplayer. And I did it for a long time. And multiplayer games have been around for a long time. I'm not just talking about, you know, giant MMOs. Even the consoles that started coming out in the late 70s, like the Atari VCS, it supported a lot of...
As like an ancient wizard. The 70s. I don't even know what the Atari VCS is. Straight up, like, I don't even know what that is.
Games, even a lot of four-player games. And most of the consoles back then did. They usually had 2 ports in the front. Or they, and frequently the second port could have a tap that would allow multiple controllers. So that's how you would play 2 and 4 people games. And then in the late 80s, and I have a whole video on this.
You guys said the programming language you learned was Aramaic.
I really got into MUDs, especially LP MUD. And that's something you play online. It's just a text-based game. But I was playing that with dozens of people simultaneously from all over the world. And that was really exciting. Because this is what multiplayer can do.
Yeah.
Then in the mid-90s, when I was at Interplay, we used to get together one night a week. I caught a Thursday night thing. And we would play 5-person Super Nintendo, one controller in the first half, and then 4 controllers and a multi-tap in the second port.
I had that. We had that for Secret Man.
We had lenses, Atari lenses, and those supported a ton of 2 and 4 person.
Okay. Now I
and quite a number of handhelds, and even 1 or 2 8-player games. So we were playing multiplayer a ton. Then in the 90s, especially the late 80s, Ultima Online and EverQuest came out.
Those are the
and that was like mind-blowing. Thousands of people on a server. Graphical. Just so much fun. In fact, I have a whole video about EverQuest is in my top 5 games ever. I mean, I love EverQuest. But I don't play games like that anymore. And people try to get me to play games, and they were like, hey, I thought you liked, and they list all these games. And I realized there's 3 big things that make me stop playing multiplayer games. The first one is grouping with people. The second one is all the griefing that happens. And then unrelated to the griefing, the third one is a lot of toxicity. And I'll talk about why that's different than griefing. Griefing is kind of toxicity, a form of toxicity, but it's very specific form. So the first one I want to talk about grouping. When I first started playing MMOs, it was super fun to play with people, and most of them were designed that you can't solo past a certain level in your class, or past a certain area. Now,
that's why WoW was really big back in the day. Is because you could level to 60 without needing to play with other people. And like it might seem like you had to play with other people in WoW back in the day, but back then, it wasn't a big deal.
Classes. I'll talk about EverQuest for a second. Some of the classes, Druid and Necromancer, you could solo well past where the other classes could solo. Because these classes were fairly powerful, and they had a pretty powerful head. Or with Druids, you could move really quickly, and they had lots of spells you could cast while moving. Lots of dots, so it was called kiting, where you just ran in front of the monster and dotted it to death. You could do that, but that's not really what they were designed for. In fact, a lot of the content was designed to require groups. There were dungeons you were not going to ever solo in. There were whole planes of existence and raids that you were never going to solo.
Sure.
They required
Just like
five-person group. So it's kind of makes sense. It's an MMO. It's a multiplayer online experience. It's designed to be group. But finding a group can be a pain in the butt. Guilds were really poorly supported back then. It was some of them you could tell was an afterthought. There were
I think the problem back then too was like servers. Like that was one of the really big issues. Is like the player bases weren't really that big, and also servers were kind of small. So you only had like 2,000 people on like a vanilla WoW server. So it's like how many of those people are online, your level, right now, the right class, the right interest, and wanting to do Snort Monastery at the right level. It's hard to find. I think servers made it a lot worse.
A lot of tools for making a guild, contacting a guild, organizing a guild, finding what guilds were available. These are some of the things I wanted to try to tackle in WildStar when I got a chance to make it later. So just finding a guild would be tough. So I frequently just had a regular group of here's me and 4 or 5 people who would like to play regularly. But picking a day where you and 5 other people could always meet, that was hard.
Yeah.
Getting them to all log in at the same time was a nightmare. You'd often say, let's play at 9. Of course, you'd log in at 9, no one would be there.
Also, we pay our students whenever anything needs doing around school. And lastly, we host a bi-weekly hackathon competition where each member of the winning team receives $500 as well as a professional credit on board. And finally, we'll work with you to package that experience all together so that you stand out in the job market. And the best part is this doesn't take 4 years like a computer science degree. Our students go from no experience in coding whatsoever to employed developers as little as 12 months. Like Caleb. Caleb was a burnt-out English teacher who was tired of slaving away for no money until he joined DAWS. Fast forward 12 months, now Caleb is a software engineer at Intuit. He's making a ton of money. And Caleb's not the only one. We've helped thousands of students at companies like these.
Some things never change. Man. Wow.
But by 9:15, still some people were there. And then 9:30, some people were there, but now some of the group is off shopping. They're like, hey, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, you get there and they see nobody else is there. So like, okay, I'm gonna go AFK, and then they don't come back from going AFK.
What's some materials, or I forgot I logged out of the other side of the world. I have to run there. It'll be another 10 minutes. So sometimes you could wait 45 minutes just for your group to get started. And you only have a 2-hour window that you agreed on, because some of them have to leave. You know, they've got a job.
Yeah.
Like, my spouse will be done at 11 p.m. So I'm tapping out at 11. And especially if that person who can't play is someone you absolutely need in the group. It's like, we can't play without the tank, can't play without the healer.
Oh god, my main tank. Like every time he would open his mic, I could hear his wife screaming and his baby crying in the background. And I remember he would be trying to tank. I remember it was Heroic Stone Guard in Mogushon Vaults, and he was trying to raid lead. Bro. I remember he finally had a mental breakdown, and he was the guildmaster. He randomly gave guildmaster away to some random person, and then he quit the game. Like, it was so bad.
Yeah, you pretty much stopped.
I felt bad for that guy, yeah.
And also, I will admit myself, I often felt overcommitted. Like sometimes I come home and it's Wednesday and it's the weekly MMO night. I still feel like playing. I really feel like diving in. But if I don't log in, they can't play.
So you've got to
maybe I'm the damage dealer. Maybe I'm the crowd control guy.
You're the healer.
So if I don't log in, they can't play. So you feel committed to doing it.
Yep.
And so it starts to feel like, is this fun or is this a second job I've got?
This is why I stopped raiding as well. And I feel like it was like I loved my time raiding, but when I didn't have as much free time, or at least I valued my free time differently, even though I liked raiding, I didn't like being committed to raiding. Straight up, like that's the way I feel. Yeah, it became a job. Exactly, right? Like, what if on Tuesday I don't feel like doing it? It's not like, oh, like there's an emergency. I just don't feel like it.
Another feature of a lot of
Became a beta? I did.
multiplayer games in general is there are areas that because you have to do them as a group, you sometimes have to redo them because if on your first playthrough you didn't get far enough, you may have to restart or log out.
Respawning trash.
And sometimes you love that. There was an area in EverQuest called Fallen that you had to play and get a key to open the next part of the dungeon. If you didn't get that key when you were going through, then
I had to redo a dungeon.
if you left and said, well, we'll see you on next day, you have to play the whole dungeon again to try to get that key. And I don't know if it was Fallen or other ones. Some of them had keys that didn't survive if you logged out.
Right.
Meaning you not only had to get the key, you pretty much had to do the dungeon in one long play session.
That's like a duration.
And if you didn't, you had to restart it next time. So sometimes redoing content like that, it got kind of boring after a while.
Dude, I remember like every. It feels I know that I'm the bad guy, but I was the guy that when I remember in Mythic Siege of Orgrimmar, the last item I needed was the necklace from Maloriak. No, from Malkrock, not Maloriak. Maloriak's in Blackwing Descent. And I needed it Mythic Warforged. It dropped. I got the item. And Trickton, the hunter on my guild, was joking around. See you next expansion as one. And I was joking around, saying, haha, yeah, you too, man. Everybody else was laughing. But next Tuesday when we didn't log on, nobody was laughing anymore. We weren't joking. I was not saying. And you want to know the worst thing about it? Nobody cared. Because I was such an asshole, and I was always like, I was the guy. Okay, here, just so you understand what it was like to raid with me. One time I wiped the raid. And the raid leader, Incarnate, asked me, he says, why'd you do that? I said, we can wipe all night, but I only have one chance a week to parse on this fight.
I did roll.
Hey! Come on, bring that beast back! That ain't it. Your man's busy playing Black Ops 6, don't you worry.
And, the numbers just weren't going in my favor, and so I wiped the raid. And, man. So I had all the best gear. I was the top performer in the guild, and I remember I left the guild, and I didn't leave the guild. I stopped raiding. Nobody cared. They were happy. Top DPS, best in slot gear. Thank God he's gone.
And it led to a second problem of syncing content. If one person missed a boss, they may be able to rejoin you. Now, Fallen one, that was fine. If one person came late or hadn't joined, as long as one person had the key, he could let everybody in.
Yeah.
But if they hadn't played for a while and their level was suddenly too low, there was some really tight level cap things, level restrictions in EverQuest, and especially every 5 levels is a lot more powerful.
Yeah.
One person misses, gets a couple levels behind, they may not be able to join you again, maybe ever again. So that was a tough thing to keep your group synchronized.
Yep.
So as if all that was added
I remember WoW was like this. Like I would stay up late playing. Zach would wake up early playing, and I would go to bed, and then he would wake up and see that I was higher level, and then he'd out-level me, and then I would wake up and see he was out-leveled me, and then I would stay up late to out-level him. Every single day.
Griefing became a huge problem in online and EverQuest. Now, don't get me wrong, people have been doing griefing forever. Griefing on Open Mods, people used to grief on the Lynx games all the time. There was a game called Slime World that let you find a Mega Bomb, and people used to go throw Mega Bombs at people just to blow up them rather than take out the monster. They were just trying to take out the other players. And yes, that happened.
That unlocked core memory for me. I remember we were playing Halo 2, and me and Zach were playing Team Slayer, and it would like sometimes random select Team Rockets. And I remember it told us it said Team Rockets, and I remember we looked at each other like this as soon as it said Team Rockets. We were like this. And he was like, and we're doing this to each other, and we start laughing, right? And we immediately spawn in and kill our entire team. So I made this guy quit online gaming. I'm so bad.
But when you're playing in the same room with people, they tend to cut that out after a while.
Yeah.
Not in MMOs. Once people became gamers like that, they became kind of like jerks. And the early MMOs seemed unprepared for it. But looking back at it now, I think what they really were unprepared for. They weren't surprised everything happened, but they were surprised at the cleverness of the techniques people used to grief and the absolute sheer volume of the griefing that happened.
Yeah, of course.
People found ways to grief that they didn't. Even though you could mark it so like these players can't be attacked or killed by another player, they would do things like train a guard or get in combat with another monster and then bring it over near you, and now you're involved. And if they were higher level than you, they could train a guard onto you. The guard can't hurt them, but it would destroy you. That happened a lot. People also found ways to trick people.
That's nothing. In World of Warcraft Hardcore Classic, there's a specific item that's called the Goblin Mortar. And all Goblin items inside of WoW that are engineering items you need a specific profession for have a chance of doing what's called a backfire. Now, a backfire is when the item damages you instead of actually doing what it's intended to do. So what a lot of players would do is they would level up a character. They would level up engineering. They would learn goblin engineering. They would learn the resource. They would learn the recipe for the goblin mortar, and they would reuse and use their goblin mortar inside of Stormwind that would then kill level 1 Bangalls permanently. Because the explosion did that much damage, it would kill a level 1 player, because it was intended for high-end players. That's why, by the way, every time Chance went to play hardcore WoW and he logged on his bank character, he never showed his location.
Toronto would not be Toronto without the artist. The community voices you, and then in turn, like liking something that is beneficial to the creator.
Such a talented, amazing city.
I mean, it's beautiful.
I have a history of hypertension and diabetes. I learned I was high risk.
At North Presbyterian, we help.
Man. How do you kill permanently?
Hey, let's do a trade. Put items in, and then you put your money on, and then they pull the item off and hit trade. And
I have had this happen to me. I will be honest. I got scammed in PoE. I was buying a Cortex, and they swapped it out for a Twisted Distant Memory that has the same icon, and I got scammed. Classic, real classic, huh? Happens to everyone. Yep, that's 1.5 exalts down the drain. That's dirty. It is what it is. I should have been smarter.
You're out of your money. They would do things like corpse runs because if you die, they're like, hey, I'll bring corpse to you. Just give me permission to drag. As soon as you give them permission to drag, that also gave them permission to loot it. Which you could argue was a really bad design.
Yeah,
a lot of people didn't know that. They just thought, I'm letting them have permission to drag it. They then go find their body. They go grab the body and take stuff off of it. Even if they only get permission to drag it, they would do things like drag it into a lava. So there's no way.
There you go.
So now you So even when they restrict it to just drag, they can still grief you.
Yes.
People were clever. In some ways, I look at wow, people spent half this much cleverness in their real life to be millionaires. But the thing that was weird is even without briefing, people found ways to be absolutely annoying. I had heard from some of my group that I played EverQuest with were women, and they said their female characters got harassed all the time. So when we played EverQuest, and we restarted a group once, a theme group of the Spice Girls, the Spicy Girls, and I was playing a female character, oh my god. I would get hit on, people always sending me private messages and stuff. It was crazy. And I was like,
and a weird messages too. It's not like that normal shit, right? It's none of that vanilla shit. It's the weird stuff.
Is this what women go through? The tension was super annoying. And like I said,
real people just
kept finding new ways to do this. No matter what you did, you know, people would follow us around, Spicy Girl would go around, and just constantly ask questions, and you could turn off them being able to ask questions, and then they find you. One guy would follow us around, so I played my Bard Speed song to get away from him. He got the Soul and Spirit of the Wolf, so he could keep up with us. I ended up like moving back and forth and getting him stuck on things because he was just and get him like dragged into a river or stuck on help.
I did that in WoW. Yes, exactly.
So we you know disconnect him and we'd get away. It's always surprised me how many people did this. It wasn't a small fraction, especially early on. There were a lot of people doing it. And their fun seemed to come at everyone else's expense. So that was the worst part of it. It wasn't just that they griefed and had fun. Part of what they were doing was to make the game unfun for other people.
That's because it made them mad. Like we used to do, so we used to do Alterac Valley. Remember those pre-mains that people would do in Farm Honor or like Honor Kills? And like everybody had like that queuing add-on where everybody would queue into the same time and do the same number of Alterac Valley. Well, we would do this, and I would be in like Skype or Discord with like, 20 of my friends, and we would all be in there. And there was this like crazy, stupid Russian woman who would run these groups all the time. And I remember she could never type a sentence without misspelling something. And what we would do is we would report her. We would report her AFK before the match started. And so she would be getting the AFK timer, and it was like ticking down. Like the gate's open, it's got 23 seconds left. She knows she's getting kicked out, and she's spamming and raid boarding, like getting mad about this. Crazy, we do it, yes. And I remember this was bro, I was having the time of my life doing this. Yes.
I got briefed once in EverQuest. Somebody did a thing where they tricked me into doing a teleport with them, saying they pay me on the other end, and then they didn't, and on the other end they tried to get me killed by dragging some guards on. And I got away, but it leaves this bad taste in your mouth.
It's annoying.
Bad online. And once brief reads anyone in your group, it affects the whole group. You log in thinking you're going to do a dungeon, somebody got griefed and lost their gear, and now you can't do this dungeon until you go on all these side quests to re-gear them. Later I have gotten better at this, but again, people are clever and they still find ways of grief.
People are very,
and then the later creative. The last one I went to was online groups always seem to attract the most toxic player bases. Or maybe single player games have toxic.
Well, they do because you can act on the behavior. So it's like basically, and we would do this stuff in real life too. It's not like, oh, well, you can't do that in real life, so you do it in a video game. No. I remember in middle school, we got a universal remote, and we kept turning the television on. Teacher puts on a video for us to watch. We turn the TV off. And, there she is, and she doesn't know what's going on, right? And then I did that right, of course. And this took like 30 minutes. I had neighbors get hilarious. It's really fucking funny. And so we did this one. Let me think of some of the other shit. There's probably a bunch of other ones I can come up with. TV going, yeah. And of course that would happen.
Player bases, but they just can't interact with you. But the multiplayer games do seem
this is the other one. Somebody had the intercom phone number, so we would go into empty classrooms. I never did this because I didn't want to take the risk, but I watched other people do it. We'd go into empty classrooms, call into the intercom, and I remember we would play Soulja Boy Tell over the intercom for like 2 minutes. And I remember one time we did this, and it was the day that we did standardized testing. And it was like, this was the... Yeah. And so everybody was supposed to be quiet. This is like a really important day. And then like it goes beep, 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 beep. Soldier boy, tell him. Watch me crank that. And it's just playing it. And everybody's sitting there trying not to fucking laugh. It's the whole school.
Where they're saying to do all these horrible things. And you go to the community boards and online forums and stuff. People are just awful there.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of you have that lens of all companies are bad. So let's include the companies in this too. There are a lot of toxic companies involved in online games. You pay to buy the game, and then you have to pay to have a subscription to play it online. And the game is useless by itself. Then you have to pay to buy DLC, and when new stuff comes out, your group has to all have it, you can't do it. And then they add microtransactions and all. So
there it is, bro. Even the ancient wizard knows. Even he knows. This guy made Fallout. Yeah. He fucking gets it.
Clothing or armor appearances or mounts. And it's just money. And it's just, it seems like the online community has just attracted the worst of both players and companies. So probably by the mid-2010s, I've just tapped out of all this. I've just said, I don't want to do this anymore.
He's right.
It coincides a little bit with when I left Carbine in 2011, and over the next few years, as I was playing these online games, I realized I don't have to be here anymore. I can't even pretend I'm doing research for my job. I don't have to do this. So I just stopped. And now, except for very occasional limited multiplayer games, things like Minecraft or Terraria, as examples of things I played. And couch co-op. I love couch co-op. I wish there was more couch co-op games, where you could.
Do you guys remember when Halo Infinite released and it didn't have couch co-op? Do you guys remember that? So those of you guys remember that? Do you guys remember whenever Halo 1 came out, it had couch co-op? Do you remember when that came out in the year 2001 and it had that? That's crazy, right? Yeah.
Now it's on your controller, either you share the screen or split screen. Games like that used to be super fun, and when you're playing with somebody right next to you, you're not going to grieve each other, at least not the people I play with.
I remember. Do you ever have? What did y'all call it? Did you guys call it screen looking or screen watching? When you would when you would look at somebody else's screen to see where they're at. Screen peeking. Yeah, we did. You're screen looking. Or screen watching. It's pretty much interchangeable. And I remember there was this one little kid in the neighborhood. And I remember I was crouched behind like a wall, crouched down, and I was standing behind the wall. I was going to shoot him with a shotgun. The kid goes, he throws a grenade, and I say, "How'd you know I was there?" And he's like, "I don't think like at that point he realized I don't think he thought that far along. Like, he didn't even realize that, like, you could tell that he was there. Because I remember, like, I feel like he learned something that day. Because, like, whenever I called him out, I said, "You're cheating, like, you little bitch." Right? Especially because, I mean, he's a kid, so he probably sucked at the game. He's probably already fourth place. And that's the reason, like, because you guys probably had the same thing too, right? Like, you know, four-player game. And, like, whoever loses gives up the controller. Whoever's last place, or, like, you know, the bottom two give up controller. Like, that's what we had a lot. Yeah. And so he's trying not to have his controller taken away.
So because of that now, as of mid-2020s, I'm almost exclusively offline single-player games.
Wow.
And I know I'm not alone in this. I don't know if the fix is right, because no matter what companies implement, there seem to be players who are clever and circumvent it. And like I said, it's not just the players. A lot of companies are doing things that I'm just like, I don't want to take part in this anymore. I don't want to play a game that's constantly...
Let me off this wild ride. Please, make it stop.
Upselling me on new DLCs and new items. I mean, what's it gonna be next? Patches that you have to pay for.
Why would you give them that example? Why would you say that?
It's become kind of a gaming nightmare for me. So I just play offline single games now.
Yep. He just plays offline single-player games. You know what's really fucked up about this? Is that 10 years ago, I wouldn't understand this video at all. Now I understand this video, and I'm worried that in 10 years from now, I'll be this video. You know? Because am I the one who, like, because I have the same thing happen, where it's like a lot of online games and like seasonal games. I'm like, I just don't really like. I'm gonna just go do something else, right? I'm just kind of tired, and you know, I'm just looking for something else to do. So a lot of games encourage griefing as well. I feel like griefing and stuff like that isn't always a bad thing, but it usually is, and I think it's a bad thing when a player can't opt out of it or doesn't consent to it. So, like, for example, when you can do something to a player and they can't stop you from doing it, that's when it's really bad. But like PvE, you know, PvE servers, Battlegrounds, PG, stuff like that, that's fine. But like when you just can't turn it off and you can't stop them doing it, that's really bad. Can't put it on a corner, etc. I'll be right back. This is Jack and Daxter, Crash Bandicoot, Sora, Sly Cooper, and Ratchet and Clank. This is a dude who grew up on PlayStation.
Hey, yo. Come on, bro.
That's not accurate to what's going to happen today. Let me rephrase that and put it in the proper context. This is a class, but with that being said, let's get into an animated event. This is when you are decided to act the bands. Big stage and small room. Big stage and small room. We realize, as somebody who went to sports, battle's not being messed with. It need to be a certain way. They said small room. So I believe they took it to a venue of 700 plus. However, it was only 300 minimum, I think maximum in the building, so 300 are left. And I believe the crowd at some point would mess this battle. I believe. I say more so on the left side. It took some time to heat up. We'll get to that though. I do believe the crowd would mess this battle better, but it wouldn't be as high as it's supposed to be in terms of Easter eggs, in terms of, stop and let him momentum-wise too. It wouldn't have been what it was supposed to be. I think it's still been fire, but it wasn't what it was supposed to be on the stage. And it allowed them to not cater to style. A one-to-one style, so four style. And that was fire. With that being said, if you're new here, you haven't, watch your point system, you're going to be here for. This is for the pugilist, the pure, the one that consumes bars, the one that wants every little detail. You know what I'm saying? The one fine. It says like this is for that. So you can exit once. That being said, this is the point system. One point, the bar lands. This phone stairs, it makes sense. It's going to help you continue momentum. You like this jab. It's a jab. Two. I like that. That was fine. That made a lot of sense. I rock that. That's cool. Three can be seen two ways. It can be a preference. I like that. Also, it can be open. Like who? So you have two different types of threes, but at one point, you should never be confused. If any gray area in that is a 2-pointer, but a 1-3. If I have it at 3, can't have it at 1. If I have it at 1, can't have it at 3. That's just option. Alright? That's just me though. Again, it's my preference. I make it easier for you at home. If you watch this, you're gonna watch along with me, or watch it for yourself. You can put in your own point. And what you prefer to what you like. Alright? And with that being said, too, let's get into it. Round time. So look up first round. And I'm saying this, I'm only putting this to show, to be conceptualized how long round was, right? So I say 6 minutes and 45 seconds, but you also see the total words was 12:34. I'll let you know how long the round, because I think in Nitty's first round, he got 8 minutes, 20 seconds round time. That I could have counted up, but his word count is lower. That's not to say, I'm a word, what am I doing? It just shows you what's going on in terms of how long the round was. I think those of us didn't get too much love about the reaction. I think he had a longer round because he had a longer round time because everybody loved Russell in the first. Alright? So we're going to give you that information throughout the first to the third artists. But Loaded Lux, I think what contributes to his total word count is the fact that, and you're going to see me say this throughout the battle. A lot of times when he gets 2 points or 3 points, it's like it's a crazy open hand up. Not a jab, but he gets there pretty fast. I think Loaded Lux is a point or two, a lot of rap involved into that. So his ending, whatever you can tell Loaded, but his ending is not really getting a point or 2 points. It's the rap in between. It's the scheming. He's scheming to get to that point.
No, nigga, that's basketball. Pay slow wages. Looking at this, I bet you say the way station.
Also, whenever he's doing around school, and lastly, we host bi-weekly practice bomb country where each member receives $500.
Talk to me all dirty space clean out. I'ma take y'all no lose stars in front of a sunset, and I'm a big, but I'm cold. This street ain't going hot. Soon as I got food, it was wrong.
Alright? So Loaded Lux to his run rate. I thought that entire part was 2 points. The measure of 2 points. And I gotta break that down to get what it is. Director's cut, 1 point. The main attraction, when he said James Fox show, main attraction, I wouldn't need extra. 1 point. The could have that up to give it 1 point. That was the expansion in it. I thought this entire sequence was 2 points. Not just the end of the touchdown. So speak to the manager, register, make sure you draw right, take it from the T-top. You're taking this approach from T-top, versus T-top round, T-top really dead. Use lots of that. She remember him versus Tony Flicks, you know, he said, third round versus I like that. This spot. And then he's kind of referencing that too. Rambo was in a wall, came from out of town, fight section, so I think that so it's not just whole fight points. It's that entire stuff going into that. I give it points. Let me say a lot about it. You get a lot of support, you know, long perspective. You saw what your schedule took. I thought that was dope. I gave that 2 points. Your life, Eddie, how many times you gotta hear about the gun line, boss? We got the gun line. This is the gun line. Inside the gun line. You step outside the gun line, over the gun line. This is I thought this was 2 points. I think if you did not watch the movie, it's gonna hurt both Lux and Eddie because they both use a light reference within their first round. I think Eddie had the boom room. Lux in the gun line bomb. So if you didn't see it, I'll help you out. Be sure. If you didn't see the movie, you'll get the content completely, but this is the best thing for you. Alright, cocking back and pulling the trigger on the scanner. Barcode, 1 point. But I think he's building momentum because he played the foundation of Walmart stuff that he realized. I think top first to damn near third. Don't let Geechee for the battery back to get your crack in your copper top 1 point. Let me see. I thought this was funny. Build reactions, but you know, you watch time trying to catch everything in terms of the flow. So he entered the parking lot. You ain't see nothing in the parking lot. Pop, when they get right. Old spinners in that. You ain't shit block. I'm not your out. Them killers real body this shit. You ain't put nothing away with them shit. I thought the entire perspective right there, top to bottom, I like to go into point stuff. I want your real life, not the script. Read the script. I thought that right there. We're gonna say that. The punch give us hands. You got to get up for 9. They kick it up for us. The really best. That was 5 points. The entire perspective right there. Stop loading truck pads. It's more complex than that. I'm gonna end it at 1 right there, but I thought that could be 1 or 2. Without the CDL, DBLs, we have to cut pass. 2 points. Momentum going into that. I think that's right there. End up right there too. But 2 points for me. He's just a body trying new material. I'm a conscious of finding out this whole I'm trying out. I thought that was 1 point. After numbers, and this is also you understand like this rhyme word kind of. I say okay, stop loading the pass, cut pass. Each team went around throughout the entire time. A lot of things, but after numbers, the advanced motor 1, alien shoot God, miracle. That was fire. Performance 2 points. Nitty, Big Titty, my turn, Nitty. Nitty laughed distance. I gave that 1 point. Thought that was cool. Every color there, the next thing you got to get, that was 2 points. That's 2 points. Private event, you refer to the fact that the private got a big stage. 300 like in the building. Private event between the general rap and when the general rap private, 1 point for me. Photo gallery, you slide 1 point. No nice jab. Let's dance. This is an entire perspective when it comes to this. I got to talk to man. I thought that was 2 points. The let's dance, somebody got to carry the entire flow through. To the end of that, 2 points for me. Now this could be 1 or 2 points for me. Break the entire thing down. I'm giving 1 point. Give me black and Harris. It's way more than that. Somebody hit my house for battle, or they'll face off in space, stuff like that, crazy. And then we got guys instead of that, fans wanting to get Lux. So you run these stats by the fans, picture being hit, who is this photo op, down. So that was cool. I mean, this was funny for me. I thought it was dope. It was very good singing. But I believe that you're on the future. Again, it's more just that ending right there, 6 points total. I believe I should have on your screen loaded Lux has between 34 to 36 points. 34 to 36 points for loaded Lux in the first round time, 6 minutes and 45 seconds. Total words, 12, 34 total characters, 6,400. Alright, run me in the first round. I'm gonna see about that. 8 minutes and 20 seconds, total words, 995, total characters, 5,140.
What would you say was the thing you liked doing the most?
Winning. Winning the most.
Hi besties, this is Richard Live, the show that teaches you how to use your money to live your best life, and I'm Venus, aka your rich BFF. I'm here today with tennis legend Venus Williams. Yes, we did get Venus. Welcome Venus. Thank you so much for being here.
It's good to be here.
I am fangirling very hard right now. I'm so excited for us to chat. But before we get started, you've truly accomplished so much. I literally have a list. You are a winner of 7 Grand Slam singles titles, the first African-American woman to reach the #1 spot in the Open era, owner and founder of Happy Viking, V-Star Design, Palazzo AI, and co-owner of Los Angeles Golf Club, first ownership in PGL presented by SoFi, and author of the recently released book, Strive, 8 Steps to Find Your Awesome. So you started your career a decade before most people, and you faced a lot of unique situations. I mean, you were very little playing tennis, and that was your job.
I was 15 years old. 15 years old in 1995 is different than 15 years old in 2024.
There were no iPhones. So I want to know, what's your earliest money memory?
My earliest money memory is from 3 years old.
Okay.
And my dad gathered the whole family and went around and delivered phone books.
Phone books?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love those art.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So, the yellow pages, thick book, and knock on the door, and like, phone book. And I'm sure 3 years old, I couldn't possibly do a good job. But I got paid for doing the job. That was my very first job.
Oh my gosh. Delivering phone books. I never would have guessed that.
Because they don't exist anymore.
No, literally. Just look at them on Google. So, let's talk a little bit about my favorite 2 words. Prize, money. You made an eye-watering $42 million in prize money. Cha-ching. How do you actually get the money? Do they just give you one of those big cardboard checks? Or like, do you get to keep all of it?
There are a few ways to get the money. You can wire it, which is what I always did.
Yeah, okay.
You can go pick
So
up
that's
the
check
check.
Oh, like the big one.
Yeah, I think you put them in his car.
Now, run the first person I thought was beautifully done. He didn't just joke with him and laugh at him. I can utilize it and land it. Not bomb, but strong after this. But the first thing you find, first thing you know, 2 points. The first verse. Two points. The highlight of my words. I thought those two. One point. Get fly. Let it fly all over the chat. I don't think this is the way he phrased it too. So I think Leah Jack tried to me. I thought this was to me. You can go 2 points, but I think this is undeniable. It's a crazy punch, which and it's twined with out. So only came out once, like a birthday, and I'm putting on A. That's 3 points for me. That's 3 points for me. And the way he said it, that's 3 points for me. You understand? The next time a boxer gets walked out by you, it'll be a fall bearer. Then you Deontay Wilder, so if you didn't know Deontay Wilder was most famous heavyweight in his current age. He walked around, called about that, you know. So I think that's 2 points.
How? That was trash.
All I got left is a large get that 2 points too. So we're talking about again the comparison of what's happening. Again, Loaded Luck is great rap to which you gotta go 2 points. I just gave him 4 points in a span of a second. Back to back. Momentum for him in the first round is building up.
Yo, that shit is nuts. You giving him 2 points for basic ass shit. That shit is wacky.
In terms of accuracy, maybe got that. If we compare him to body loaded to drug rule, that was cool. But to me, it's a connection into the get the first. So I think that ties 3 points, giving the drug rule 1 point, they get the working first 2 points. I thought this was solid. Down to the water, 1 point. I thought this was, you can say 2 to 3, but for me, it has been.
Really? That was ass, bro. Come on. Y'all be giving whatever. Nah, that was head. No matter how the point, this is why I thought he won. He won. 11 Trump. Slice voted dice for about 8 points. That was fired 2 points. Tied 2. Boost, cricket, sprint, both carry 2 points. His entire jab points. The jab. You don't like that. Support back. Go Jordan status. That was the I thought this was when let's go jab. I don't know pill pop. Again, if you don't know Lux know that when he's doing third. So when you have pop reference, Lux was the first pop. Alright? When you said pop this, pop back, all that pop. Again, Baker Mac pop. You need to know that Lux went 5. Alright? So pill pop, loaded Lux, that's the plan. Beasley, Was the guy behind Lux actually talking? Or did he say this to set up what got going on next? He said, yo, chill out, gang.
Chill out, gang. Back up, cause this ain't even ground. That one you always keep around, thinking loud, he get really rapid. He get found at the bottom of the ocean floor by reefs. Better try to keep that.
Chill out, gang. Then he points somebody in the background, came to the lyrics. The ending goes, he gets found by the bottom of the ocean floor by Lux. Better try to keep it down. Nigga, you're the first person I'm talking to. Did you need to get away with it? I thought this was dope, so this is more so you just said that. I'm giving it, it's more fun right here. Because the drill of this is bumped up into a touch. I thought that was 2 points. Rob getting watered down, but somehow still got loaded. So you're gonna play that back. Oh man, Nitty got him. But I still somehow got loaded. I'm watered down, but look at you, he's drunk right man. Huh? You're drunk, bro. You're drunk, man. Get it together. Ty dogged up in front of his kids. His animal move 2 points. Look what's going on. This is back. This is ridiculous. Trying to look low. Ron Pesci, 1 point. I think I got 2 points for that. The only function in his mind raised boom. He didn't see the movie Light. You understand? But I tried to play basically Eddie Murphy and Light. At night, he would envision, and they could counterpart vision a club they throw. So only function in his mind raised boom. Alright? 5, 2 points for me. So if you ain't get it, so we 0, you gotta get it.